If the next 10 years of your life were placed on a blank canvas, what would you paint? What would you build? What would you become? Most people spend more time planning a weekend trip than they do designing their future. But the truth is, if you don't fix your direction now, the next 10 years will simply be a repeat of the last. It doesn't take a miracle to fix your next 10 years. It takes a plan, a philosophy, and a decision. It starts when you stop living by default and start living by design. Your future doesn't begin next year. It begins now. And the next 10 years of your life will be determined by what you do in the next 10 minutes, 10 days, and 10 months. People say 10 years is a long time. No, it isn't. 10 years go by in a blink. But what's worse than 10 years passing is 10 years passing with nothing to show for it. No growth, no goals achieved, no legacy, no peace. So the question is simple. What are you going to do now to fix your next 10 years? You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to know everything. You just have to start. Start small. Start with the habits. Start with the mindset. Start with the vision. Start with a commitment that says, I'm done wasting time. I'm done living average. The next 10 years of my life will be the best years. Let's be honest. Nothing changes until you change. The only guarantee that the next 10 years will be different is if you become different. And that's the good news. You're not stuck. You're not finished. You're just one decision away from a new direction. So if you're tired of excuses, if you're tired of regret, if you're tired of watching others move ahead while you stay behind, this is your time. Make the adjustments. Fix your philosophy. Upgrade your daily disciplines. Surround yourself with better voices. And feed your future with consistent effort. In 10 years, you're going to arrive somewhere. The only question is, where? And will you be proud of who you became? You can't fix the future with the same habits that broke the past. That's a truth most people ignore because it's uncomfortable. It requires us to take full responsibility. And responsibility isn't always fun, but it's the gateway to transformation. The habits that got you stuck will not be the ones that get you out. If your routines, thinking patterns, daily rituals, and emotional reactions led you into frustration, stagnation, or regret, what makes you think repeating them will lead to a better tomorrow? You don't plant weeds and expect roses. You don't eat junk and expect health. You don't avoid discipline and wake up successful by accident. Change is not accidental. It is intentional. And habits are the foundation. Your habits are the architects of your future. Every little thing you do today echoes into your tomorrow. So when you carry broken habits into a new season, don't be surprised if the season feels the same. People often say, this year will be different. But different doesn't just happen. Different is built. Different is earned. And you can't build a new life using the same old blueprints that got you stuck. If your mornings are filled with distractions, your days with procrastination, and your nights with guilt, then you're simply recycling disappointment. To truly fix the future, you have to examine your patterns like a builder inspects a broken house. What's working? What's crumbling? What needs replacing? Sometimes it's your mindset. Sometimes it's your circle. Sometimes it's your excuses disguised as reasons, but all of it matters. The beauty of life is that habits can be changed. They're not permanent. They're patterns that respond to intention and repetition. You don't have to overhaul everything overnight, but you must begin. Small hinges swing big doors. Small daily changes lead to massive life shifts over time. You just have to commit to a new standard, a higher one. If you want your future to be cleaner, stronger, richer, wiser, you need habits that match that vision. You can't expect financial freedom if you treat your money carelessly. You can't expect peace if you let worry rule your mornings. You can't expect growth if you avoid challenges like they're curses instead of catalysts. What you tolerate today will dominate your tomorrow. If you tolerate laziness, you empower mediocrity. If you tolerate self-doubt, you paralyze your own potential. And if you keep feeding the same impulses that ruined your past, don't act surprised when the next chapter looks like a rerun. Life rewards those who are honest with themselves. The moment you realize your habits are outdated, you have two choices. Make excuses or make adjustments. Excuses feel good in the short term, but they cost you in the long term. Adjustments might sting today, but they'll bless you later. Every successful person you admire, every story of transformation you celebrate, every turnaround you hear about, it all began with someone saying, "Enough. I'm not repeating this cycle. I'm not dragging old failures into new opportunities. I'm starting fresh with new habits that honor my future." You don't need a better past. You need better habits. You can't rewind, but you can redesign. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time? Right now. Same with habits. Start now. Start small, but start. Replace complaining with gratitude. Replace scrolling with reading. Replace blaming with building. Replace waiting with doing. These aren't complicated shifts, but they change everything. And here's the key. Consistency is more powerful than intensity. It's not about doing it once with passion. It's about doing it daily with purpose. The small, unseen, quiet disciplines practiced when no one's watching. That's where the future is fixed. So, look at your life. Audit your day. Trace your habits. Ask yourself, are these leading me to where I say I want to go? If not, don't curse the results. Change the input. The future isn't some mystery you stumble into. It's a reflection of what you repeatedly do. And if you want different, you must do different. Because you cannot and will not fix the future with the same habits that broke the past. Don't wish for a better decade. Work for it. That single sentence has the power to change your entire future. You see, most people spend their lives hoping things will somehow get better. They cross their fingers, make half-hearted resolutions, light a few birthday candles, and wait for luck to show up and fix everything. But life doesn't respond to wishes. It responds to work. It responds to effort. It responds to consistent, focused, determined action. Wishing is cheap. Anybody can do it, and most do. But wishing without action is nothing more than fantasy. You can sit in a corner and wish for a better body, a better career, a better relationship, a better bank account, a better life, but nothing will happen until you start putting in the work. No wish can replace a daily discipline. No prayer will substitute for a plan. And no dream becomes reality without a strategy behind it and sweat in front of it. The truth is, wishing makes you feel good for a moment. It gives you a sense of possibility. But it won't make you better, richer, wiser, or stronger. What will? Work. Not just any work, but intentional work. Smart work. Focused effort applied consistently in the direction of a clear vision. Everyone says they want a better life. Few are willing to do what it takes to build one. It's not enough to desire change. You must demand it of yourself. The next 10 years are going to come whether you show up for them or not. So the question isn't, will life change? The question is, will you change? Stop putting your future on hold because you're waiting for a perfect moment. That moment isn't coming. The conditions won't be ideal. There will always be some inconvenience, some obstacle, some reason to delay. But those who win in life aren't waiting. They're working. They don't pray for lighter loads. They build stronger backs. They don't hope the mountain gets smaller. They become the kind of person who climbs it. If you want a better decade, roll up your sleeves. Get uncomfortable. Get consistent. Start saying no to distractions. Cut the excuses. Build a routine that honors your goals. Read the books. Apply the lessons. Guard your time. Track your habits. Save your money. Invest in your mind. Learn to say no to temporary pleasure in exchange for long-term reward. Work changes things. Not all at once, but it works over time. Inch by inch, brick by brick. The same way water wears down stone, not with force, but with persistence. The problem with most people is they give up too soon. They plant a seed and walk away, wishing it would grow. But growth takes time, and the harvest only comes to those who stay in the field. You want a better body? And here's the beauty of working. It transforms you while it builds your future. You're not the same after a decade of real effort. You're not just older, you're better. You're wiser, stronger, more resilient, more valuable to others, and more confident in yourself. And that's the real reward. Not just what you accomplish, but who you become in the process. So don't sit around waiting for the stars to align. Don't pin your hopes on a new year or a fresh calendar. Don't let your dreams sit on a shelf while time ticks by. Your future is in your hands, not in luck, not in fate, not in what happens to you, but in what you choose to do starting now. Don't wish for a better decade. Work for it. And if you work wisely and consistently, the decade won't just be better, it will be remarkable. A small course correction today avoids massive regret later. That simple idea is the foundation of every wise decision. Life doesn't usually demand giant leaps. It often requires tiny adjustments, small pivots that over time lead to radically different destinations. The tragedy is that most people wait until things are falling apart before they make changes. They wait until the bank account is empty. They wait until the relationship is shattered. They wait until their health is gone. Then they scramble for solutions that would have been simple years earlier. But here's the good news. You don't have to crash to wake up. You don't have to hit rock bottom to grow up. You can catch the drift early. You can look at your life now and say, something needs to change. And even if it's just a little thing, a small course correction, it can prevent the storm that's coming if you stay on your current path. Life doesn't shout when you drift off track. It whispers. Maybe you're sleeping too much, eating too much, spending too much, delaying too much, ignoring too much. Those small choices don't seem like a big deal, but they add up. They compound. A small compromise today becomes a lifestyle tomorrow, and one day you wake up and wonder, how did I get here? The answer is always the same. Little by little. You didn't make one massive mistake. You made 1,000 small ones. The good news is the reverse is also true. You don't need one big heroic moment to fix your life. You just need one honest moment of clarity, one decision to correct your course, one change in direction. If you make that now, you might avoid the pain, the loss, the regret that so many carry into their future. It's easy to overlook small things, but life is made up of small things. The 5 minutes you waste every morning, that's 30 hours a year. The extra coffee or dessert each day, that's 15 pounds by next summer. The daily habit of scrolling instead of reading, that's 100 books you didn't finish. None of those things seem catastrophic in the moment, but they become the gap between who you are and who you could have been. A small course correction might be choosing to set your alarm 30 minutes earlier. It might be deciding to track your spending. It might be turning off distractions and using that time to invest in a new skill. These don't make headlines, they don't draw applause, but they matter. Because direction determines destination, and even a 1-degree shift today puts you in a completely different place a year from now. Think of it like a plane taking off from New York, aiming for Los Angeles. If the nose of the plane is pointed just a few degrees off course, it won't land in LA. It might end up hundreds of miles away, maybe even in a different country. That's how life works. A small shift in attitude, in discipline, in mindset can change everything. But the longer you wait to make the correction, the harder it gets. The further you drift, the more painful the turnaround. That's why it's wise to do it early, while it's still easy, while the cost is low, while the stakes are smaller. People often say, I'll fix it later. Later becomes never. Later becomes too late. Later becomes a life full of I should have. And there is no heavier weight than regret, especially when it could have been avoided by a small decision made in time. Look at your life today. Where are you coasting? Where are you compromising? Where are you drifting off course? It's not about shame, it's about awareness. You don't fix what you don't face. But once you face it, you don't have to be overwhelmed. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. You just need to adjust the angle. A better life doesn't start with drama. It starts with decision. Quiet, simple, clear decisions that say this ends now. That starts now. And every time you choose discipline over distraction, intention over laziness, vision over impulse, you're steering your life back on course. 10 years from now, you'll look back. You'll either be grateful for the corrections you made or regret the ones you didn't. The difference will not be luck or chance. It will be the small decisions you made today. Because a small course correction now avoids massive regret later. Always. Design your life or you'll drift through it. That's not just advice, it's a warning. Because drifting is easy. It's natural. It takes no effort to wake up each day and go wherever the current takes you. But if you live like that, without intention, without vision, without a blueprint, you'll eventually find yourself somewhere you never wanted to be, wondering how you got there. Life doesn't automatically hand you fulfillment, success, peace, or purpose. Those things are built. And to build, you need a design, a plan, a clear picture of what you want and who you're becoming. Without it, you're just reacting to life, chasing distractions, running from problems, settling for less than you're capable of. The truth is, most people don't fail because they set their goals too high and miss. They fail because they never set any goals at all. They drift. They follow the crowd. They wait for something to happen instead of making something happen. They confuse movement with progress and activity with achievement. Drifting is dangerous. When you drift, you're not in control. You're letting outside forces decide for you. People, circumstances, emotions, culture. You surrender your power. You abandon your responsibility. And slowly, without even realizing it, you begin to live someone else's story instead of your own. Designing your life doesn't mean you have to know every detail or have everything figured out. It means you start asking the right questions. What kind of person do I want to become? What do I value? What kind of relationships do I want? How do I want to spend my time? What kind of legacy do I want to leave? Without those questions, life becomes one long distraction. You wake up, check your phone, go to work, come home, binge some show, scroll until you're numb, then start the cycle all over again. And years pass, dreams fade, energy dies, not because you were lazy, but because you were never intentional. Design is about purpose. It's about deciding that your time matters, your talent matters, your mind matters. It's about treating your life like the masterpiece it was meant to be, not a random collection of events. When you design your life, you become the architect instead of the observer. You choose the direction instead of just going with the flow. It doesn't take a genius to do this. It takes awareness. It takes ownership. It takes a moment where you stop and say, enough of this drifting. I'm going to live on purpose. I'm going to create the kind of life I can be proud of. Start small. Write down your goals. Think about the kind of future you want. Imagine your ideal day. What does it look like? Who's in it? What are you doing? How are you growing? Don't just dream, plan. Don't just hope. A dream written down becomes a goal. A goal broken into steps becomes a plan. A plan backed by action becomes reality. And here's the beauty. When you begin designing your life, even the small steps have meaning. You're no longer just going through the motions. You're moving towards something. You wake up with purpose. You work with focus. You rest with peace. You're not perfect, but you're intentional. You're building a life that aligns with your values, your vision, your calling. That doesn't mean the road will be easy. There will be resistance. Distractions will call your name. Delays will test your patience. But if you've designed your life with clarity, you won't be shaken. You'll stay the course. You'll make adjustments, not excuses. And one day you'll look around and realize you didn't just live. You built something worth living for. The people who live the richest lives aren't the luckiest. They're the most intentional. They didn't leave their lives up to chance. They didn't drift. They decided. They designed. They got clear, got focused, got moving, and they kept going. You don't have to be brilliant. You don't have to be gifted. You just have to be clear. Decide what you want your life to look like. Get to work. Stay consistent and keep building. Because if you don't design your life, you'll drift through it. And drift always leads you somewhere you never meant to go.